Good morning. Thrilled you're here. It's a beautiful day. I can't tell you how much I love enjoying beautiful weather. And I know everybody does. But when I was a kid, I was depressed a lot. And so I spent a lot of time indoors. And I slept a lot during my summers. And I didn't have many friends. I didn't have places to go. And I was by myself. And so, in my mind, there were a lot of summer days that I didn't get to enjoy because I was, struggling too much with how I felt, even as a kid. And so one of the real benefits of that is the fact that I really enjoy beautiful weather now. Not just to the point of, yeah, this is nice, but to the point of it reminds me of where I used to be and where I am now. And it gives me that extra depth of joy and pleasure, knowing that I'm not going to waste one more day not feeling connected and alive and enjoying the gifts which are out here. And that's kind of our topic for today. I'm Rita Hickman, shiatsu massage therapist, body-mind expert, and I coach women in narcissistic and toxic relationships, even when motorcycles drive past. I'm on a country road, so that can happen. So today's topic is about spirituality and spiritual practices. So, I was raised Catholic, and for a long time I had a real problem with Catholic spirituality, because when you're going through any sort of trauma or conflict with the Catholic Church, typically what they're speaking on and how they're behaving isn't really relevant to the situation. It's about sacrifice. It's about suffering. It's about putting yourself last, which is wonderful, just wonderful if you have problems with that. If you have problems with, being a narcissist and putting yourself first and not having compassion and so that's great. That's really wonderful advice for that. However, when you're being victimized for any reason, dogmatic religions are not usually the best resource. However, as time has gone by, I've really had the privilege of exploring all sorts of different ways of interacting with a higher power. Whether it be interacting through 12-step programs in a group, interacting in sacred fires or sweat lodges, interacting through Reiki energy, through energy healing circles, interacting through walks in the woods or meditation. There are as many different people as there are ways of connecting, ways that really work for somebody. And as time went by, I was able to look at the spiritual practices of Catholicism, many of them, not all of them, but many of them, and really see the beauty and the amazingness behind it. So there are a few spiritual practices, habits or traditions or rituals, that I completely ascribe to. And the reason that I do is because they actually help you, they actually help your body heal, your mind heal, they help you get clarity, they help everything rise to a higher vibration. So I'm going to start with, believe it or not, one of my favorites, which is from the Catholic religion, which is fasting and intermittent fasting. I went through a phase in my life where I said, you know what, a lot of these rituals in the world have a purpose, even if I don't agree with them. So I was raised with no fish on Fridays during Lent and giving up something for Lent. And, I was raised in that sort of mindset of fasting is actually kind of normal. You wouldn't eat breakfast before you would take the host, at Mass. So not eating and fasting or intermittent fasting was just a regular part of the process, which I didn't understand for a long time until I started to notice the benefits. And I noticed the benefits for myself. When I would do any sort of fasting, my mind became clearer. any sort of brain fog that I had sort of went away. My emotions started to calm down. My body stopped feeling so excited. And part of the reason for this are the foods that we eat. And even if they're healthy, they still have a lot going on. And doing something like ritual fasting or fasting for health, what it does is it helps your body, it gives it a break, it spurs it into healing itself, it encourages your immune system to heal itself. And if you do it, following a pretty healthy protocol, the ritual of fasting gives you spiritual experiences and understanding and enlightenment that normally the toxins in our body or the foods that we're eating or our digestive system, they get in the way. And so one of my favorite lifelong, cheap, free, counterintuitive spiritual practices is fasting. So there's a lot of books out there now on cool ways to do intermittent fasting, things where you don't actually have to fast total, where you can still do juice or certain times of day. So I'd invite you to investigate that a little bit, because it's nice, because it gives you a calmness that allows breakthroughs to happen. It puts you into a certain space. So one of the second rituals that I really like is what we call hydrotherapy in the massage therapy business. And hydrotherapy is the use of hot and cold to create certain effects in the body. Now, the using of hot and cold, you see everywhere. It's not just Native American sweat lodges. It's all over in Europe, where they would do saunas. It's over in, in Asia, where they do baths. All of these things, they use hot and cold in order to create a physical effect. And in fact, I've been recommending it to a few people lately to go to one of my favorite spas, the Korean spa, called King Spa. It Niles around me. And because what it does is the back and forth of the hot and the cold, it forces your body to relax. It brings life to the lowest, to the deepest level of your beingness. Because hot, when you apply hot, it draws heat towards it. And when you apply cold, it pulls heat away. So in reality, when you use hot and cold, what happens is it makes your whole body sort of pump. It opens everything up, it closes everything down. It opens everything up, it closes everything down to the smallest cellular level. It's a very physical breathing of life into yourself. And most women right now are dealing with adrenal fatigue. They're dealing with a sense of exhaustion and being worn out. And something like sweat lodges, something like saunas, especially if done in a mindful, thoughtful way, what it does is it pulls life into you. It creates and generates life into your body, which allows you then to have different visions, different insights that you might not have had before, because it pushes your body to these limits. And in reality, spirituality and physicality are the same thing. They're so intertwined that when you affect your physical, you end up affecting your spiritual and your mental and your emotional. So using hot and cold as part of a spiritual practice in order to connect with something bigger than you has been around for a long time. So typically, and I've got a sauna and a sweat lodge at my gym, a sauna and a steam room at my gym. I very purposely picked a gym that had those. And so when I want to do a cleansing, I'll do the steam room, I'll do a shower, I'll go to the sauna, I'll do a shower, and I may switch back and forth. There are some wonderful spas around. One of my favorites is Candy Ranch in Las Vegas, believe it or not, because in their locker room they've got a whole series of hydrotherapy, from a crystal salt room to the hot tub to a rain shower to all of it. And when you go back and forth and it opens and closes, it's like your body breathing. it's like your blood being allowed to breathe, and that life just really gives you a sense of connection. My second favorite one, actually my very favorite hydrotherapy area of all time, is on Kauai. Not Kauai, is on, well, it's in Hawaii. I just can't remember which island it's on now. Maui. It's on Maui. And it had different pools that were related to different sacred herbs and colors and the different chakras. They had a Japanese pool where they had the bubbles come up, and then you could do a cold pool plunge. They had a waterfall. You know, it's things like that. Water has memory. Water has thoughts. Water holds information. They've even come up with tons of science anymore that water holds information, and that it can hold information, and we can access it. They're starting to use it in computer chips because water holds so much information in it. So when you do something like hydrotherapy, it not only affects you, but you're interacting with all these level of information that the water is holding, all of its stories and history, and it's a beautiful connection. So one of the third practices that I love is done by a woman that I would work with, and she did what she called God jobs. And God jobs were where she felt called to do something very specific to help someone else. And one of the God jobs that she would do is every morning she would go into her, Reiki room, into her healing room, and she would spend time sending love. Well, she'd spend time sending love and energy towards Chicago, and it's totally needed. So, okay, we could go metaphysical with this and be like, yes, according to quantum physics, when you do that, when you put love into the quantum field, it has an impact, similar to, the meditation experiments they did in New York. Meditation and that peacefulness and changing the vibration of the field is very helpful. But here's the cool thing that has to do with you. One of the reasons I love being a healer is because when you do any sort of healing, you also get healed. And the reason for this is because love and the feeling of love and the feeling of compassion on a physical level, and they've proven this over and over, the technology of love is what causes your body to heal, causes your body to reconnect within itself. When you're in a space of compassion and caring, and when you're sending love and let's say Reiki energy to Chicago, what's happening is you're feeling that love, and it's connecting your brain and your heart and your gut. And it's a wonderful, wonderful spiritual practice, because when you spend time in that space of unconditional love and giving, it means that your body is going to end up healing too. And it's very, very, very cool. Very cool. So, for now, those are my top 3 spiritual practices that I just love, that are super counterintuitive. There's a lot of other things like, going on adventures, like meditating and sitting in the grass, like visualization, and all of those are really cool. But you know all about those. So I wanted to share 3 of my really unique ones that I have. So feel free, and please feel comfortable to share any of the practices that you have, either underneath this video or in the Healthy Mindsets to Cope with Narcissists. Feel free to do that, because the more ideas we have of how we can connect to spirit, how we can connect to a higher level of beingness, the more ideas we have, then the more we will be present and start to see the miracles everywhere in life. Some people, they ritualize one thing that they do every day, and that one thing will bring them love, or bring them insight, or bring them physical healing, or bring them connection with themselves or others. Oh, there's one more spiritual practice which I really do love. It's the use of herbal medicines to take you into a different state of thinking. So around the world, people have used different sorts of things. And it can be as simple as drinking some chamomile tea to calm you down so that you see the world in a different perspective, to ayahuasca, in South America, where it takes you to a very altered state of thinking, to recreational, legal recreational marijuana, which takes you to different mind states that allow you to access your emotional pieces, your subconscious better. So there's a lot of tools out there, especially around healing and spiritual healing, that are just fabulous, that people don't even think about. So I invite you to explore the healing practices that you do or that you want to start putting into place. And B, maybe explore some different spiritual practices than you ever thought. Whether it's running your energy, or whether it's putting roots into the ground, or whether it's sending love and light to the people that you care about. Whatever it may be, I invite you to start a spiritual practice of some sort. It doesn't matter what belief system you have. None of it matters, because it's about the connection to love, loving yourself physically, loving yourself mentally, loving yourself emotionally, and loving the world that you live in, finding a way to feel love. Because if you do that, if you do make choices that show your body you love it, if you make choices that show all the versions of you, your subconscious and your conscious mind, that you love them by giving them a voice, by opening the doors, that's when the healing starts. So love really is the key, just maybe not in the way that you thought of. Okay? So it's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. I'm certainly going to enjoy it, and I hope you do too. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.